Hey YouTube, Prof Sales here.
And Karen.
And we're coming to you on a Friday to talk to you about our inventory experiment.
Extravaganza.
Our inventory experiment, our inventory
debacle.
Experience. I don't know what the word is. Debacle. It wasn't a debacle.
The great inventory whatever of 2017.
But if you've ever thought about if you need to take inventory or not, we're going to tell you what we learned in doing our inventory here on eBay. So welcome to the Prof Sales YouTube channel. We are glad you are here. We are off and running. This channel is about mindset. It's about being an entrepreneur. It's about being in business for yourself. It's about
grabbing all the thingies.
It's about that too. So we also have a live chat going during the show. So if you hear us talking to someone or answering a question who we're referring to, if you ever want to join live, we're usually on at 2 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at Eastern Standard Time. And you can also leave us a question or comment down below. So inventory, Karen, well, we finished. And what do you think about that?
I'm glad it's over.
Okay, so hopefully somebody was saying their video was waiting for it to start. So doing an inventory on your eBay listings is not fun unless you're just a glutton for punishment, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't call it fun, would you?
No.
There are some moments. No, we did pretty good, actually.
There are still some moments that have some residual effects.
There's still some moments, but yeah, we started this inventory process actually at the end of last month, and we had about probably what, 2 weeks where we did pretty much nothing on it.
Pretty much.
Okay, that was a mistake for lots of reasons, which we'll get into. But we're going to share with you guys what we found doing this inventory. And it was very, very interesting. If you've never done one, hopefully you'll have some good tips about how to go about doing one, as well as some things to look for, some things to look out for. Might be a better way, right? So let's talk about why we even did this.
You know what? I'd like to call it something different. We keep calling it an inventory. It's more of a reconciliation, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like, we use that term, and I don't want people to hear that word and think it's only about counting the thingies. It is quite literally a reconciliation of 3 different lists. And we found that this reconciliation, or inventory as we've chosen to call it, which it serves both purposes, but it's mission critical because you're reconciling potentially different lists. They're not, and what we found,
not even potentially,
is the reconciling of the, well, maybe some people are perfect and they don't have bumps.
Could be
in their eBay-ness. And then, hey, but you're reconciling these 3 lists, and so they're not always going to be the same. So that was the most important thing. Right. And that's why we did it.
Right. So, and that's a good point. Just to reiterate, it's not just counting what you have. It's making sure you have what you think you have and what eBay thinks you have. And that was basically the reason we started this. We wanted to make sure that what we had listed on eBay was what we showed listed, that eBay did not show anything listed that we did not show listed or did not have, and then we didn't have anything here listed. So there was all kinds of reasons for doing it. And I'm sorry, we're going to say something?
So our 3 separate places are the physical count that we have here at the house, because we're eBay only, we're not doing Amazon. So the physical things that we counted here, and we compared those physical things, look at it like a triangle. We compared the physical things on site with his inventory spreadsheet on the computer.
Right.
And then we brought down a CSV, which we'll show you later, of what eBay says we have listed. And I'm here to tell you that those 3 parts of our pyramid, those 3 points to our pyramid, did not all match up.
And they didn't make a triangle. It's more like a parallelogram.
Or like a multi-lelogram. Like, it was like all over the place, like Rosemary's Baby or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we so we use something called File Exchange, which you can use on eBay, which basically allows you to download your listings, your sales, your unsolds, anything you want within a certain time frame in CSV format, so that you can easily put it into a spreadsheet and then manipulate it, you know, look at whatever you want to look at, do whatever you want to do. So we use the File Exchange. We're going to show you some more about that in just a moment. But basically what we did was we created a copy of all our listings. Now, if you have a spreadsheet that you're using to track your inventory, maybe it's a spreadsheet that we offer for sale, maybe it's some other spreadsheet, maybe you have in Google Docs, I don't know. But if you decide to do an inventory, make a copy of your spreadsheet and use the copy. Do not use your original, because if you make an error, you've now messed up your only true original master, and that's no good.
That's never good.
Never good. So we took a copy of the listings and we took the File Exchange and we dumped that in a Microsoft Excel workbook. So we had two different tabs, the original File Exchange and then the copy of our listings. And then I took the File Exchange listings and just took out all the columns that we really didn't need, because there's a lot of stuff they dump in those. And basically what I downloaded was all active listings that eBay said we had. So in other words, it should be everything that we have listed. And I'm going to show you guys kind of what that looks like right now. So let me see if I can get this to come up here. We'll do a quick screen share. Well, if it comes back
maybe.
So that looks like this, just so you can see it. So it basically has all kinds of fields here across the top: item ID, custom label, product ID, the price you have it listed for, the start date, end date, condition, and so on and so on. What the title is right here, all kinds of things. So that's the first part that we pulled up, and that's what we downloaded from eBay. Okay. So then what we did is we dumped our listings into, made a copy of our spreadsheet and put it in the sheet right beside of that File Exchange. And then I took some of the stuff out of the File Exchange, just like the stuff we didn't need. Like we didn't really need the listing date. We really didn't need things like, you know, the selling price. We really didn't need either. All we really needed was the SKU field and the title of the item. That was truly the only columns we really absolutely had to have. So we put those together and we started comparing them. So the way we did this was we looked at each item that we have in inventory and compared it to our list and eBay's list. And basically what we did is we would say, all right, let's say it was item number 3462. 3462 in the search box up at the top, and it would show me where that was. Or actually the way we did it was, we did it by, we did an even easier way. And it depends on how your inventory is set up. But like we have fixtures. So we had fixture A241. So I would type A241 in that eBay list, and it would show me the first item it came to in A241. And then I could hit the little arrow and see the next item and the next item, the next item. And then I compared that to what Karin, she pulled the item out and looked at it to see. So we'll show you what that kind of looks like, just to kind of give you an idea of how we did it. I think this will work. So we went over to, let me push this up a little so I can see it. So we had this list right here, all right? So we would put in here up at the top, up here in the search bar, top right, A241, right? See how it went to number 1? It says that's number 1. And if you hit the arrow up here in the top right, it goes to the next one in 241. And then it goes to the next one, so on. And then what we did is we went over here in this list, which is the list that we have. This is what we say we should have. And we go to A241, number 1, Lucky Brand Jeans, boot cut, regular size 8. eBay says jeans, boot cut, size 8. And if that was in spot 241 and number 1 was right there, and that's what it was, we just highlight it in yellow. We highlight it in yellow in both places you can see here. So that way we knew that we had accounted for it in both positions. Like, because that's important. You need to check both places and say, does eBay have it right? And do we have it right?
Yeah. And I know we're going to talk about this later in the wins, losses, the good, the bad, and the ugly section, as I like to call it. But we talked about, you know, in old school sort of traditional inventories, you have a list that you go off of, a printed list, and you're just checking it off. But again, because this is more a reconciliation, we decided to make it seemingly more difficult or more step intensive. Stay with me. Because I'm physically touching the item, whatever it is, the jeans, pulling them out, you know, verifying the size, make, model, etc., and he's on the computer. The benefit to that, I wasn't really keen on that, TBH, initially, but the benefit to that turned out to be that we could in real time eBay listing and we didn't on jeans, we didn't modify it in the moment because we had so many of them, but later we did it on other things. But we were able to sort of bebop back and forth and glean information from here, there, or elsewhere, and it just made more sense. So we did talk about doing it, you know, and the benefit to maybe paper would have been we could have worked independently, but this actually ended up, it seemed like more work in the moment, but like you say, time is time no matter when you spend it. So we would have been doing all of those things anyway. We just chose to do it, some of those things in the moment. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think to Karen's point is, the cool thing about it is you can pull up eBay, like she said, you know, in your browser, and you can go search on your eBay really quick and make the correction to that item if you want. You could correct it real time and then just move on. We did some of that. We did some of just batching them together, but the problem with that is that there's not really a problem with it, but you just got to sit down and if you don't have the item in front of you anymore, and if there was another question, you wouldn't be able to answer without going back to the item. So probably in retrospect, it probably would have been better to do all of them, like you just said, just going through in the moment, fixing it on eBay if you can, whatever you needed to do, because that came up a few times. So, but we actually, I'm going to jump back to the spreadsheet here for a moment because I'm going to show you some of the problems we had. We found lots of errors. Most of them were not really
operator belt errors.
Yeah. I mean, well, no, most of them were not really operator belt errors. They were little errors, but let me go back and show you what we found, guys. Show you some of the types of errors we found, and maybe you can spot some of these in your business as well. So I put them all here at the top. So what I did is I made a note over here when there was a problem with a particular listing, and that way I could very quickly go down this column and see, oh, I need to fix something there.
I read that as ADD. Like ADHD, ADD. No, add signature. It's the word signature. The word signature was missing.
So, so on this one, the word signature was, these were signature series from Levi's. They were also missing the item specifics. You can see here we had changed to 16 long. We had changed to 3334. I don't know why I had 3434 there. Change to
wait, this one is my favorite.
Change to Margot instead of Mango, which is what I wrote.
What the heck is Mango?
It's one letter off. Come on.
I laughed for days on that one. I'm still laughing. Mango.
Change to size 0. We had a size 2 put in. Change to size 2 long. We had 10 regular. I have no idea what happened on this one. This was a very strange one, and we had to put in new photos.
Right, because it was there, but with the wrong photo. Like it
had the wrong photos.
Yeah, so we had to pull that one, and we're going to relist it as the size 2L.
Which I did, but it was really really crazy. Rock Republic jeans, these had to change to a 6M instead of size 26. I probably put the waist size in there, maybe. Change to Stardust, as I had an extra letter in here. You can see Stardust.
It could have been worse on
Hey,
Start.
so somebody searching for Stardust Joe jeans might not have found them.
Exactly.
Change this one to Toothpick instead of, these were Toothpick jeans from J. Crew, not Matchstick. Although they do sell a Matchstick.
You just really like Matchstick, and it was wishful thinking.
Check the size on these. I did not have the size in the listing title, as you can see here. And check waist measurement. And now here's like a really funny one, guys. This one right here, see why it's in red? Well, the reason it's in red is because this listing was listed by eBay twice. Exact same item, exact same photos. Now, I don't think I did that. I think that had to be some sort of glitch on eBay's part. But guess what happens, guys, when I sell this one and then the other one's still up there and I sell it again? It's not going to be there. So I went in and deleted it, but that's the kind of errors that can creep in if you don't, really look them up. This one right here too. This one, this 7 for All Mankind A pocket. This one, as you can see here, it sold in December of last year and it relisted magically in August of this year. I have no idea why. Maybe it was getting relisted all along, but we needed to fix it. And we did, and we fixed it. So, you just want to always fix this stuff when you go through and you find it. This one right here, put maternity in the title, which we did because it was maternity.
Yeah, we talked about that one early on. That was one of the first ones that we found that, if you're looking for maternity jeans, I'm thinking you should see maternity in the title.
This one needed Lexi Petite in the title because I did not have them in there, and now we do. This one was listed as a 2 on the inventory tag, although I think it was correct on the listing, but we checked it anyway. Yeah. This one needed the word Ingrid in the title because that was the type of Citizens Humanity jeans. This one needed the size 14 in the title instead of 12, although I think I had it right in the item specifics. Signature and title, signature and title, signature and title. And to be fair, these are some older ones, and I was just not as good at listing jeans back then, and I just didn't put it in the title. Size 6. For some reason, I just had the word size here and no number. Well,
we think we know what happened.
We think it got cut off. There was some weird stuff going on.
Yeah, there was another one up there. One of the things, and you'll probably talk about it in the whatever's anomalies department, but one of the things we noticed when we brought it down, when we brought that CSV down, and when you copied and formatted the new spreadsheets or whatever, sometimes the formatting, it automatically switches to something else. And we noticed that on certain columns, numbers disappeared.
Yep, they did.
And in 2 cases, and actually it was a 6. The shoes and then this pair of these capris were both 6s. So maybe your laptop doesn't like the number 6. I don't know.
This one tag says 29, so I had to fix it. This one was interesting because it had them listed. Oh, I remember this one. This one said, I didn't have this as listed in the sheet. Well, what had happened was I had put the wrong number over here. This was 952. And when 951 sold, I put that as the one that had sold. I basically transposed the 2 listings. So I'm going to come back. You guys can see that just from that list, there was also the other part of that list was our copy of the spreadsheet, which there were some additional errors over there, which I didn't even show you that were not on that first page.
Yeah, those were all human errors. Those weren't even the eBay errors.
Right. Most of those were just my errors. Some were pretty minor. I mean, if you're missing the word signature, that's kind of minor. But if it's an item that's double listed or you show that you sold this one, but really it was that one, that's a problem.
Or if it's listed and you already sold it. I mean, if it ain't right, it's a problem.
Well, and I can tell you guys, there is none of those issues. None of them would I have ever just found on my own without purposefully looking at it. Like literally looking at the item, looking at what we have listed, and looking at what eBay had listed. Because they just wouldn't come up. I mean, the only one that would have came up would have been when that double one sold. And then I would have thought, well, maybe I just lost it. But then I would have looked back and seen that, well, I sold that one. That doesn't make sense. So we for sure learned a lot of things. One, we learned, I'm a human being. I'm going to make issues. I'm going to have errors listing things. I mean, when you've listed thousands of items, you're going to make some mistakes. Like you're going to type things wrong. You're not going to copy and paste correctly. You're going to cut things off. In a couple cases, I did that where I cut off the inventory number. So I just had this item there. It was listed, but it didn't have the inventory item number in the title or the SKU field. That happened in about 3 or 4 cases.
One case, we found something that was in inventory that wasn't listed.
Yep.
It had a tag and everything, and it just
wasn't. Yeah, actually, I think we found 3 that were kind of, well, they weren't all like that. 1 or 2 were like that. At least one was like that, where we literally had an inventory and there was no corresponding listing for eBay. Now, that's interesting because my spreadsheet showed I had listed it at one point. So you wonder what happened to that listing. I think what happens is when you have 30-day listings, well, here's what's funny. I think when you have 30-day listings or 10 or 7, whatever you do, and then you relist them, I think there are times when those do not get relisted. Especially if you're batching a bunch together, which is what I normally do. I go in and whichever ones fall out in a given day, I just relist them. I had a good till canceled that happened with. It kept relisting, even though it had sold. Like it just relisted 2 days ago. I don't know if I told you that or not. I had to delete it again yesterday. And I'm going, why will this? And it was an older pair, like thousands of listings ago. So moral of the story with all that is, guys, if you have hundreds and hundreds of items listed on eBay, I bet the money in my wallet versus the money in your wallet that you have some errors. There's some sort of disconnect between you and eBay. Now you might say, yeah, Prof, but they're not a big deal. I don't care about them. And in some cases, that's not going to make a big difference. Like if you don't put the word size 6
or signature, and the
not
reason,
a huge thing.
Disclaimer. So the reason I was a pain about that was I am a stickler for consistency. And if we're going to update this one because the mango is Margot, then we're going to make them all so they need to be up to date. And putting signature in the title, for example, and we didn't talk about this, some of those older signature lower end jeans. Yeah. That's one of the things that we learned from this is that we need to purge some things. We need to get things out of our inventory, let them go, donate them, whatever.
And what was interesting is I did notice in the last 2, maybe 3,000 listings we did, there were very, very few errors. So I compared to the first couple thousand. So I think that, over time, on this account, I've done pretty well. I've gotten better. But still there's probably, and there could still be some errors out there we don't even know.
I wonder what was different about the latter couple thousand.
She's going to say her, but there you go. So, Karen, let's talk about what worked with this inventory and what did not work.
Okay.
Well, what did not work is that we started a month ago and stopped. That was a big problem.
Yeah, that was like the number one for me when we first started talking about today's show. It stinks and it's no fun, but it would have been better if we just did it and got it over with, and not because we had good intentions. We kept saying, oh yeah, we'll get to it. But here's the consequence of not just doing it all in the moment. I think we mentioned it the other day and we can't even show you because we've since fixed it. But with the jeans in particular, so you pull down that list, right? You had both lists. They're dated in August or whatever. And so then you're like, well, I probably shouldn't put the new jeans that I've listed up there. So literally there were like 30, 40, almost
more like about 60.
All right. So 60 pair of jeans just plus started stacking up here. They had their inventory tags. They were ready to go. But because we hadn't counted them up there and reconciled that, they were just sitting here. So all of these things were on hold. And also what happened, in addition to the new ones just sort of had to wait on deck, as we went through, we would actually come upon empty spots and we'd have to, and we're pretty good about remembering, but you shouldn't have to, but we'd be like, oh, that one probably sold. And 9 times out of 10, that's exactly why it wasn't there. Well, probably 9.9 times out of 10. We didn't find too many that just weren't there.
Right. That's true.
So that is that bad.
No, it was, if you're going to start an inventory, and we talked about doing it this way, we could have pulled down a section at a time. So I could have gone into that eBay file exchange and said, all right, show me all the jeans that I'll search for all the ones that are on fixture A345.
Aha, but wait, Prof, here's the problem with that. And we only know this now after the fact, but had we done it that way, we had, I don't know, less than 5 items that for whatever reason, whether it wasn't typed or pasted correctly, or it just got mysteriously, magically eBay deleted, we had items that didn't have the section, the A whatever in the description, in the title, in the whatever. So if we had done that, guess what? We wouldn't have been able to find it based on the place where it should have been. That doesn't mean we wouldn't have been able to find it. Don't get me wrong. In every case, I mean, we can search, Lucky, or we can search size 2, or we can search Mango, Margot, whatever to find what we're looking for. But the point is, this numbering system gets us right where we need to be without question.
Yeah. And, it also will help you guys, if you ever do an inventory like this, it'll help point out flaws in your system. whatever flaws you may have. And there is no perfect inventory system. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. But ultimately, the biggest weakness of all of them is just human error. If you make a mistake, but you put it in and your inventory system allows it, it's just going to sit there until that mistake surfaces for whatever reason, whether you catch it with a reconciliation or you sell it and you can't find it, something like that. I mean, there's no perfect way to do it. There's no perfect way to set up a system, but I would highly recommend, technically you should probably do it twice a year, but I would probably at least say do it at least once a year. Bite the bullet, say, I'm going to take this week and I'm going to go through, I'm going to make sure everything that I think I have is what eBay says I have, and then fix any errors and problems. And I think you'll be glad you did. It'll point out things you could do better just in general. Maybe you're making the same mistakes over and over, and you'll see that. And then you can say, oh, I know I need to put signature in the title.
Yes,
she was giving me such grief about those jeans.
Well, are we done at the bottom of the list or no?
Yeah, I think we are.
Other things that we learned, we had, what do we have? We have the jeans room upstairs. We have the shoe racks. We have the tchotchke stuff, or the hung stuff. That doesn't sound right. But things in the closet or in buckets, as we call it, where they're folded or whatever. And then we have a section of hard goods, just miscellaneous whatever.
Right.
And we found that with the hard goods stuff in particular, there were some things in there that we had returned from Amazon that were just sitting there. They weren't listed, and they probably won't get listed. So we actually pulled a big box of stuff that we're going to just
about 15 items or so.
We're just going to defect out, right? But for me, and I actually joked about making one of those mystery boxes and just kind of putting it all together.
Put it on eBay, mystery box.
But you have to tell what
Here's your free diaper rash or ointment.
That's expired 3 years ago. No. But you have to put like a pseudo inventory. You're not allowed to just sell mystery
right,
boxes.
You can't do that, right? You'd have to say what's in it.
For me, and we'll have to address this, you're not going to like it, but for me, actually putting my hands on the items and looking and seeing, like the signature Levi's or whatever, we'll use that as a bad example, right? They're probably not going to, these, aren't going to sell. They're lower end, not all of them. But some of the jeans that I put my hands on, I pulled a pair that had a hole in it that we missed. It's an infamous easy thing to miss, but on those stretchy ones, it'll rip in a vertical tear right at the corner of the pocket, and it's easy to miss. So I actually pulled 1 or 2 of those from long ago, right?
Right.
So there's jeans that we know that so we're trying to figure, like, if it's a year-old or a 2-year-old pair of whatever, let's get rid of it. Let's figure out a way to blow it out or defect it or donate it or just get it out of inventory and let's move on.
Yeah.
Same thing with the tchotchke items that we found, and that's Jason's end-all category for anything that's not a jean that he just really doesn't like to list. So we've got those piles too. So we've got some decisions to make, and it kind of puts it in your face. What are you going to do? Just continue to store this stuff? Or
I mean, it's one of those things. It was so funny. I forgot to tell you, I was in the supermarket yesterday and they were doing an inventory. I'm like, oh, I can't get away from inventory with the grocery store.
Did you offer to help them?
No, I did not offer to help them. I'm like, you guys have fun counting all that lip balm. But it's one of those necessary evils you should do every once in a while, guys. And if nothing else, to figure out, not only what issues you have, but just how you can improve. And I think we came up with some things along there. So lots of other people were talking in the chat. We got like 64 people watching, which is really cool.
Cool. Happy Friday, people.
And thank you guys for the shout out in the inventory, or all your inventory things you're shouting out in the chat. People are talking about their particular systems, how their problems they've had or their successes and so on. Michelle said she sold a pair of shoes with 10-cent shipping yesterday. I'm guessing they cost more than 10 cents to ship. But, we've all been there and done things like that. That's going to happen. You can't let it get you down. You're going to make some mistakes or have some learning opportunities, however you want to look at them.
Teaching moments. That's what we call them around here.
So let's move on to some other stuff here.
Okay.
So you wanted to talk about, did you want to talk about that?
How I started my day-to-day?
Yes.
So you guys may or may not know that I go somewhere motivational when I wake up in the morning. I purposefully don't check email or the socials or whatever, but for whatever reason today, I went right to Facebook, and the very first thing that I saw was a post in our Facebook group by a young lady we will just call Camilla. Anyway, long story short, well, that is her name, but we were going to do a screenshot, but I don't want to compromise her last name or whatever. So anyway, so Camilla posted a very, very nice, and I'm not going to talk so much. She said really, really nice things about the journey and, you know, being a part of this community and learning lots and what it's done to help her and motivate her. But the coolest thing about, you know, aside from that, Camilla's update was that she is she's less than $60 from meeting her revenue from last year. Wow. Okay. We're not even all the way through Q3. Q4, so awesome. Fourth quarter hasn't even started yet, and she's already there. And we're on the cusp of the busiest time of our year. And I read that and I was like, you go, girl. Good for you.
Right? She's way ahead of it.
And she was just a shining example of what you can do when you set your mind to it. You know, she is busting her butt. She reselling. She works a full-time job, drives a truck, drives Uber and Lyft in her spare time.
Spare time?
I think she's a mom. I think she's all these other things. And then she does the eBay. And I mean, she's killing it. And she, you know, it's mindset. She set her mind to it. She's working hard. She wants it.
Yep.
And look at that. I mean, a year later, here we are. You know, and Camilla's been a part of our group and a part of the community. I don't know that she's in the chat today, but, you know, we have regular friends. It is very inspiring. And I'm looking at all the names now, and I wish I could call out everybody. But, you know, we love it here. We love our community. And stories like that just really, make it all like, that's what it's all about, you know? And it was just, I don't know, I can't go on, and you need to cut me off because I just can't say enough about what that post, and it wasn't her intent, but what that post gave to me. That was a blessing for me to know that here she is, something that maybe we did or said might have helped. You know, we're not taking credit for that, but gosh darn it, I am part of her journey. Like, thanks for taking us along for the ride and updating us along the way. Like, thank you.
Yeah, it'll be great to see how she keeps progressing and how this year turns out for her. Obviously, it's going to be amazing. So shifting gears to something else that Luke and I are doing, Luke of Endless Entrepreneurs, as you guys know him. If you haven't watched Luke on his channel, Endless Entrepreneurs, be sure you check that out on YouTube. Luke is awesome, puts out so much great content over there. We have been talking about a little experiment, you know, like we get to experiment with
like Frankenstein.
Well, I don't know if I would say it's like Frankenstein. I would say it's more like yeah, it's kind of like Frankenstein. No, it's not like Frankenstein. I teased this the other day. So there's this idea out there that if you price your items lower on eBay, that you will sell through them quicker and theoretically make more profit than if you priced higher price items, which would theoretically sell slower. Even though you make more, you just over time would still make more with a sort of modest pricing model or so on. So Luke and I decided we want to test that theory. Now, we cannot test it to some sort of really high statistical level here because you would need thousands and thousands of items to list to do that, probably, to really start saying too much about it. But we're going to take a swing at something, at least anecdotally here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start listing items over the next, I don't know, we haven't even talked about the time frame, probably like 30 days, maybe even 60 or 90 days. We may have to extend it out to. And we're going to take half of the items and price them. You're vibrating the table.
Oh, sorry.
So when you do that, you're going to take half the items and price them sort of mid-range. And then we're going to price the other half at the top of the sold range. So I'm literally going to take, I don't have a pair of jeans sitting here. I'm literally going to take a pair of jeans. I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to do a quick search of solds. I'm going to look for the highest price I can find for that item. and I'm going to price it right up near that. So we're going to track 2 data sets here, 2 sets of items over the next, few months. And we're just going to see how close we can get to that highest price for our item. We can use best offers and take whatever we want. And we're also going to see how long it takes to sell versus the ones that we would price where we would sort of normally price our items, the quicker flip model, quote unquote. It'll be interesting to see. And we're not going to cherry pick items. We're not going to pick anything, above, and we're going to keep track of what we list it at versus what we sell it at. Okay. So that way we'll know what percentage, how close we are to kind of the max price we listed at versus, what we actually sold it at. It's going to be interesting to see. And I don't know. We were going to do this in Google Docs. Right now is to share that Google Doc with you guys so you can follow along the progress as well. Create it like as a share where you can view, not edit, obviously. But and Luke and I will update it as we list things and sell things and so on. We're not going to put old sales in there. We're only going to put sales of the items that we list during this time. So I just want to see kind of what happens with this, because I feel like this conventional wisdom isn't really necessarily true, but I don't have any proof. And someone says we should do a 3rd set priced really low. That's not a horrible idea. We could, and we could see there too, but then it gets kind of tricky because we get into this definition problem, like what's a high price, what's a medium price, what's a low price. I mean, you really you got to do a lot of research to figure that out, honestly, because you kind of have to look at a bunch of solds and then take the average and take the low. Whereas we know we can take the highest priced item that's comparable to ours pretty easily. We can find that because you can sort by highest to lowest in solds. That's what I plan to do. Like, I'm literally going to take jeans, and if one sold for $40 and all the rest sold for $25, I'm going to list it for $40. I'm going to see what happens. And I really don't know what'll happen, but I think it's going to be interesting. And you guys should be able to, someone said they do 80% of the highest sold and run a 20% off sale. Well, yeah, you could do that too, but we really want to see how close we can get towards that highest price. I think in some cases we might actually get the highest price. I know that sounds crazy, but think about it, guys. If you're listing items out there that cost $30 on average, but the high price in your category of items sold for, say, $45, how did they get that price? I mean, it's not just luck. I mean, they listed it that high because they thought it was worth it, and someone agreed. So somebody's got to be the highest, and I'm going to see how close I can get to it. I'll probably put best offer on all of them and just kind of see, but I'm really going to try to hold the line on those higher price ones, just to kind of get up as close to that max as possible. And we'll see if that works or not. Somebody asked me, how's your new pricing model working, Jason, where you have 7s for the ending number and so on? Yeah, it's working pretty well. It's enabled me to see like the time I've had items up. It's weird because I won't sell an item at $29.99, but then they'll sell at $29.98. Go figure. I mean, there's no way to really, understand why that happens sometimes, but it certainly does. So.
Well, and then Janetta said again to filter by lowest and price below the lowest. But this is what I would say to that. It would certainly serve its purpose for the experiment.
Yeah.
But then that puts us in the conundrum of low price, quick flip, high volume.
Yeah.
And that's really not the model that we're going for. We want to make all the money, right? We want to make as much as possible per item.
And 2, it means you have to list even more to get a representative sample, because now instead of listing half and half, you're listing a third, a third, a third, with the 3 different tiers of pricing. So
yeah. And somebody asked, on this experiment, are you doing, I don't know if the question is that, but I'll ask, any promotional listings on the experiment or just straight?
I haven't thought about that.
Well, you need to think about that. And we did try promotional listings, did we not?
We did.
And what'd you think about that?
Not a huge bump. You seem to get a little bump at the beginning, but then it kind of sort of dies off.
Look who just got here. Camilla, you need to go back and watch the
The beginning, yeah.
About
15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Krillin, thanks for the super chat, sir. Really appreciate it. Krillin's a great friend of the show. You follow YTD sales. Are you hitting listing goals? Yeah, and we just talked about what listing actually in reference to this topic, this top pricing strategy. I'm having trouble figuring out what to call it. So that's going to kind of push some listings through, maybe more so than normal.
Frankenstein, that's what we're going to call it.
Yeah, and we'll kind of touch base over the next week or so about like listing and so on over and what's been going on, and kind of give you guys a little heads up about some things. But
yeah, so we're not just sitting here watching the grass grow. We have been extremely busy with some huge projects, and I meant to have my hard hat on. But you know, we're working on something together.
Yeah.
I'm working on some, you know, separate kind of secret stuff, not secret. But there's all kind of things, you know, that are keeping us from. Yeah. But I think after today, and then once we kind of make some announcements on Monday, that'll clear up and we can start targeting those goals, hitting them a lot harder for sure.
All right, Karen. So I think it's time for viewer questions, viewer mail. Remember the old segment on David Letterman way back in the day when he did this?
No, I just remember Wayne's World.
That was pretty good. All right, so we got some actual questions from actual people.
Well, or they play them on YouTube.
And we like to share them on Fridays. We like to, you know, highlight their questions and talk about them. So let's look at those.
Can I be easy motivation?
Sure.
All right.
It's one of your video you led.
Oh, my favorite video. Anyone know a place to find trends or what brands to buy? As me said in the video, trends change. How do I find what's best to start looking for during each time of year? We just talked about that the other day. Somebody asked that about how to stay up on fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay engaged. Like that's, whew.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, one thing you could do too is you could look at what's trending on Amazon and eBay and so on in terms of fashion. That can give you some ideas. Also, just going out to your local brick and mortar stores, department stores, discount stores, and kind of seeing. Here's a tip. Look at what they're kind of pushing towards the front of their departments. That's kind of what they're thinking is going to sell right now. But then look at it and see if it is selling. See if the rack looks emptier. See if the table looks emptier. If people are actually buying things or not. I mean, these are kind of quick and down and dirty tips to go and see like what is trendy or what's not.
That's current fashion, but you can also do, you know, filter solds on eBay. That's
right.
What we tell people.
That's the easiest way.
That's the easiest, most direct way to find out what's selling now. Now we talked too about how there's a time delay on that. Just because it's now doesn't mean it's now. It really was then, but you can use it for now. Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yes. All right. So good question. Thank you for that, Easy. Our next question comes from Teresa Webster, who is responding to our eBay, the 10 eBay mistakes that resellers make.
Only 10?
Yeah, I know, right? And Teresa asked, does relisting count as a listing? And I think she's asking that in terms of, does it count in terms of, you know, kind of resetting the listing algorithm on eBay?
And does it cost you a fee to relist? That's how I would read that too.
It does. And if you're getting charged insertion fees. And no, the conventional wisdom is it does not reset your listing algorithm if there is such a thing, if that is in fact what's going on with a relist. Now, some people will do a sell similar, where basically the one listing ends and then you sell it again as a sell similar, which creates a whole new listing as far as eBay, and they believe that kind of refreshes that algorithm for eBay's purposes. But I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not sure that's ever been proven one way or another. People have all kinds of theories about that. So I would say if you're looking to kind of reset the algorithm, so to speak, if that's what's going on, you need to be looking at new listings, not just ones that you had up, ended, and then you relisted again. Yes. And someone said allegedly sell similar to us. And then we have one more question here.
You want me to be that person?
Sure.
Okay. Is it a guy or a girl?
Let me see if I got the right one. I think it's
that one.
Yep.
Less than 40. Okay.
She responds quite a bit.
I found 3 items double listed this morning. Awesome. I had the items and I edited them and relisted and both popped up. I called eBay and we fixed it, but it surely slows down my process. Great video. Inventory is very important. And that was probably comments on the how to turn 10 to 1,000 in 4 months. But we did talk about the reconciliation of 2017, as we have been mentioning it all along. But see, good for her. She found some things that were awry, right?
Yeah. And speaking of that video that we did on Wednesday, how to turn 10 bucks to 1,000, one viewer pointed out quite correctly that if you kept going on sort of that compounding rate of growth, you would have ridiculous numbers in just a few more months. And you can't. There's a well-known kind of curve in economics that suggests as you grow and grow and grow, your rate of growth will slow down. You can't just grow like this the whole time. For lots of reasons. You know, the market is only so big and only absorbs so much new product and items or services, whatever you're given, plus your ability to do it. But you know, all those things is just, you know, they don't really detract from the idea that you can turn a little bit of money into a lot of money relative to that little bit pretty quickly on eBay if you want to just really go after it. Take a lot of new capital coming in. That was kind of the point of the video, but their point was exactly correct. You can't grow like that forever. It will slow down. You know, going from 0 listings to 10 listings, no problem. Going from 10 listings to 100, not really a problem. Going from 100 to 1,000, that gets a little trickier. And going from 1,000 to 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, that's a whole nother discussion that starts bringing in, you know, questions about employees and warehouses and space and being able to acquire enough items, you know, to list. I mean, so for sure though, guys, your growth will slow down as you get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's a pretty normal thing to have happen. But you still can grow. You know, even the biggest companies in the world still look to grow every year, grow their revenues, grow their sales. They're just not going to grow as aggressively. I mean, you're not going to double every year or double every month for year after year. It just doesn't work that way. So just want to be clear on that.
So I want to interject some Prof math. Do you remember when we did that show about what constitutes a death pile, like what the magic number?
Yes.
For us, approximately what would make a death pile? What number would be a death pile for us?
Probably about 250.
Ooh, just under the buzzer. So one of the things that I did, that's why I was running around like a crazy person.
We said 20%, right? Is that the number you're talking about?
Well, you'll be corrected here by somebody, I'm sure. But yeah, whatever the number. Like
so you get bigger, it needs to go down though. So you could even argue 15, but yeah.
All right, so what would 15 be?
Probably about 180.
So we're right there. We're close. So one of the things I did is I wanted to make sure that, remember, inventory reconciliation, but to do a count of things that have not been listed, that are just kind of sitting around here that we need to make a decision on, pull the trigger, right? So right now, I'm going to publicly announce we've got 60 pair of shoes, 30 pair of jeans. No, yes. 60 other tchotchke items, your favorite.
Oh, Lord.
Miscellaneous, like 20 or so hard goods. Lord knows how many drill bits are over there that need to be listed.
Drill bits are taken care of.
We have a I'll call it Mr. Ed's pile. We're going to list some things for a friend of ours. There's about 10 of those. And then for the shoe process, I've got one of the things that I do around here is I'm the defect tax write-off expert.
She is a defect queen.
Defector. It's just a defector. What song was that supposed to be? So anyway, that's not even right. So one of the things that I have to reconcile for the business is to make sure that we've posted our defects or write-offs through Q3, which we're coming up on the end of the month now.
Right.
And when, for example, when shoes go into the defect pile, one of the things that I'll do, because we don't spend a lot of time correcting, fixing, whatever, but before we actually consider them a defect, I will sometimes spend a little extra time to try to fix it, shine it, polish it, whatever. So we've got a couple pair of shoes in repair zone that I actually have to ask. It's those Coach shoes that I can't get them clean. They're driving me nuts. So that's also part like back end of this process. So we've got about 180 items that need listing attention.
Close. So we'll start on that challenge with Luke today.
Can you, is that like, aren't you guys supposed to
start? Yeah, we're starting today, actually, was our goal. I was thinking about the beginning of the month, but like that doesn't make any difference. Just start now.
Just start it whenever.
Yeah, just start now. There's no reason to wait another couple days. So yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the definition of the death pile is if you have more than 20% of the items listed, like if you have 100 items and you have 20 items or more unlisted, you have a death pile.
You might have a death pile. No, you do have a death pile.
So stop listing,
stop
buying, stop anything. Yeah, get those gone. So we're right there too. So we need to get that taken care of.
Practice what you preach, Prof.
Well, part of it was because we were doing that stupid inventory. No. I didn't want to keep piling items on top of it.
I'm not going to argue with you. Stupid is one of the words that came to my mind, especially last night.
Oh, man. We were like, we're going to just knock this the rest of the way out tonight. And it's like, oh, it was just so bad. Why are you so
My letter of resignation is already typed. It's sitting.
Mine too. I quit for inventory. I'm not doing another one for at least 6 months. Someone asked, what are your thoughts on doing accounting manually or like a software like GoDaddy? I mean, GoDaddy's okay. It doesn't inventory. You can, obviously, if you want to take on accounting yourself, do it. Well, you know, if you can educate yourself and probably get there. I have an accountant who helps me out, but you don't have to. I mean, there are advantages to having an accountant because if nothing else, you can just pick up the phone or send a text and say, hey, what about X, whatever X is? And that can give you such peace of mind. Like they can give you options if they're good. You know, if everything that they tell you is, well, you know, do whatever you want. You want somebody who will tell you, these are your options. This is what's going to sort of maximize your, you know, your tax deductions, minimize your income, help your business to, you know, that's the person you want. But if you want to take on all of your accounting yourself and do it manually, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just you got to decide like how much of your time do you want to trade for it?
Well, and I'd be curious whoever posted that, because I can't see it from here, but how far along in their journey are you? Like, you know, you don't have to get a store, for example, right away. Baby steps, start out small.
Sure.
So do what you know. If a ledger book, that's how I started. I still have it. But if a ledger book makes more sense to you and a hard copy is just stop. You know, technology is not for everybody, and gosh darn it, that's okay.
Technology.
Stop. It's not. It can be frustrating, I know, if you're not used to it or when things change or whatever. So do what you know. And if keeping track of your inventory needs to start on a ledger book, then do it that way. You know, we're going to hope that, you know, we can get you further along with technology. It's your friend. But, you know, just do what you know and do what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, you can always upgrade down the road. You know, at some point you'll want to start making some decisions about things like, you know, how to keep track of your books, how to keep your taxes and how you're going to do those. I mean, those are important questions. Are you going to start a corporation or a LLC or, you know, what have you? And those are all kinds of things you need to think about. So,
well, and before she leaves, for everybody that's in the chat right now, that is our Camilla. That is our Camilla that we were just talking about. So more power to her and to everybody else that's trying to kill it. But
you made the show, Camilla.
Yeah, she did. Yes, she did. But she's got to go to work, so she's kind of in. She's out. She'll watch it later. But there you go. So that is really the Camilla that we just mentioned. You got another question?
What is it?
It's subjective. What's the best accounting software?
Oh, that's from the same
person. His name is Jared Alicio, CPA. No.
Well, I mean, you know, QuickBooks is great. I mean, there's lots of great accounting software packages out there. I mean, they're all just kind of come down to preference a lot of times. You know, people use GoDaddy because it integrates with eBay. It pulls over the transactions. Nothing wrong with that. You know, any of those are good. I think it's more just about having a way to deal with taxes and tax preparation and your revenue and all those questions. I think that's the more important question, not necessarily what package you use. So But you know, guys, it all comes back to what we started this topic on today, is that you always want to be doing things that hopefully will improve your business, that will improve your profitability, minimize the time it takes to do things, make your business more efficient, and give you a peace of mind that you're doing it the best way you know how, with the best of information available and the best tools at your disposal for your particular place and budget. And we're all at different levels. Nope, there's not a right or wrong level to be at. And I think you can always work towards that. You can always work to make your business as effective and as efficient as possible. And that's always a noble goal.
It's not always going to be fun. It's not always going to be pretty, but you're learning. We're all learning every step of the way. So
yep.
Was this reconciliation grand? No, but again, like you said, it's making the business better.
Yep, that's it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. So please hit the subscribe button if you haven't. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers.
All right, so no, don't hit that. Share this video with your friends, because he is driving me crazy. So the whole subscriber thing is not like on the front, right?
Yeah.
But he's so close. Like all I hear is, "Oh, we're almost there. Oh."
I know, and it's like slowed down. I'm like, what is this? What is going on? So, but we do appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your Friday and an awesome weekend, because, hey, fourth quarter is 2 days away. It's time to get serious, to get busy, to get real.
Get busy, yo.
To grab all the thingies and sell all the thingies.
Grab all the thingies. Okay.
All right, guys. Well, take care. We'll see you guys on Monday. I am Prof Sales.
And I'm Karin, saying good sales to you.